Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show that takes you from diaper disasters to the legendary teenage eye roll. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, here to guide you through every stage of parenting, from toddlers testing your patience to adult children testing your Wi-Fi limits. Parenting is a wild ride, and no matter your child's age, you'll always find a moment where you think, are you fucking kidding me? Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show where we celebrate the chaos of raising tiny humans and pretend we have all the answers. But really, we're all just winging it. Today, we're talking about something every parent knows too well. Tech tantrums and Screentime Showdowns. Or as I like to call it, the daily hellscape of being a modern parent. So just raise your hand if you've ever tried to gently enforce screen time limits, only to be met with the wrath of a child who suddenly thinks they're the star in Gladiator. Yeah, same. So today we're diving deep into the mess, why it's so hard, how tech is basically crack for our kids, and what we can actually do about it without losing our minds. Or without regularly changing our Wi-Fi passwords. But seriously, if you've ever found yourself Googling, is my kid addicted to Minecraft? Or how to survive Fortnite withdrawals in teens, you're in the right place. Go grab your coffee, your wine, or an emotional support snack of choice, and let's get into it. Let's be honest, nothing bonds us parents like the shared trauma over tech tantrums. So let me share a sneak peek into what screen time battles look like in my house. Picture this. It's dinner time. I've cooked an actual meal. I mean, real food, not just chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs thrown into the air fryer. And I am feeling smug. Like, damn, this is what parenting should look like. And then I announce, hey kids, time for dinner. And what do I hear? Not what I expect. What should be, coming, or okay. But instead, I hear, just 5 more minutes. Can I finish my show? Or my absolute fucking favorite? Mom, I'm in the middle of a live game. Suddenly, I'm not a parent. I'm a fucking hostage negotiator with no leverage. And when I finally pry the device from their damn hands, it's like I unplugged their life support. Cue the meltdowns, the tears, the screams, maybe even a dramatic flop on the floor. Or my absolute favorite, the control toss across the room towards the TV. As all this is going down, you're over on your phone Googling how to survive a child possessed by Fortnite. One time, I told my kid it was time to turn off the iPad. I shit you not. She looked at me dead in the eyes and said, Mom, you're ruining my life. She was 5. Seriously? What life? She didn't even go to sleep without a whole routine, including me sleeping in her bed. But suddenly, I'm the villain because I won't let her watch another hour of adults opening toys they don't actually own or they didn't actually pay for. There's also the time that her brother changed the parent settings on our Netflix, and he began watching Squid Games while in middle school. When I asked him how he did it, he said it wasn't hard to figure out. Great. Now I'm parenting an IT consultant with 0 ethics. Seriously. You may also be saying to yourself, well, it's not a big deal. Middle school's an okay time to watch that. But what you have to know is, I have a master's degree in peace and conflict. I wrote a thesis about children fighting in combat zones, and then I worked in the mental health field. So I have a lot of rules about what can and can't be watched or played at what age. I'll let you know now. Squid Game was not on the approved list for his age. And don't even get me started on public tech tantrums. You know, the time when you're walking through Target and your kid has your phone and you have to take it away because you got a text message. You need to look something up. But you know what's more stressful than your kid melting down in Target because you took the phone away? The people staring at you like you're the villain. I'm sorry, Susan. Would you like to parent my child for the next 20 minutes? No? Yeah, didn't think so. Those moments are the worst. Sibling tech wars are also their own brand of chaos. My youngest will snatch the Switch from her brother mid-game and then act completely shocked when he loses his mind. Seriously, it's like a Game of Thrones, but with barely less murder. Here's the thing. I'm really not anti-screens. I get it. Sometimes we just need Bluey or Minecraft to babysit so you can cook dinner. Or, for me, sometimes it's just so I can cry in peace. But the second I try to take the screens away, it's like the fucking Hunger Games. And I don't know about you, but I'm definitely not Katniss. Now, here's the thing. This isn't all just our kids being shits. The good news is that there's actually a reason for all of this. So I'm going to get a little nerdy about why we have screen and why the screens have such a grip on our kids. And actually, us. There's actual science behind the screaming and the meltdowns, and yes, the endless doom scrolling that we all do. I'm here to help break it down. First up, let's talk about dopamine, the brain chemical that makes us feel good. In the real world, we get dopamine hits from things like finishing a project, crossing something off our to-do list, petting a dog, or finding $5 in your coat pocket from last winter. But in the digital world, dopamine is handed out like candy at a parade. Seriously, every notification ding, level up animation, or like on social media is just a hit of the happy juice. For kids, this is game-changing. Literally game-changing. When your kid beats a level in Minecraft, their brain lights up like they've just conquered Mount Everest. Never mind that it's a pixelated Mount Everest. But to their brain, it's a freaking party. And tech companies know this. They're not just making games. They're making dopamine dispensers disguised as entertainment. Recently, my son beat a level on his favorite game, and then he screamed like he just won the Olympics. Was it a simulated race on a fake track? It was. Was it a custom made-up car? Yep. Does my son have his license? Nope. But to his brain, this race was pure euphoria. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there wondering why I can't get him that excited about brushing his fucking teeth. There's a reason why kids can't regulate their screen time, and it's not just because they're defiant. I mean, that might be part of it, but really it's biology. Kids' brains are still developing, especially the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that's responsible for impulse control, decision-making, and all the, hey, maybe don't do that thoughts. But for kids, it's a work in progress. There's this guy, Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's this awesome neuroscience guru, and he explains that because kids' prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed, they literally don't have the tools to say, I've been playing Minecraft for 6 hours. I should stop now. That's why when you tell your kid to log off, they scream, no! It's not just bad behavior. It really is their biology. I mean, I could hand my teen the keys to a Ferrari and say, drive responsibly. But honestly, he's going to go fast, he's going to go crazy, and probably crash. Hopefully, it's into a wall made of tantrums. So, congrats, parents. You get to basically be the external prefrontal cortex until our children grow up, which, by the way, happens around age 25. You're welcome. You know, another reason screens are so addictive is something called the habit loop. Here's how it works. There's a cue, like a notification ping or the lure of a play button on a YouTube video. And that leads to a routine, watching, gaming, scrolling, whatever it is. And then there's a reward, which usually is some combination of dopamine and instant gratification. Repeat that loop enough times, and voila, you've got a habit. And yes, kids are particularly good at developing screen habits that drive us insane. Have you noticed how everything on screens is just more? More colors, more action, more speed. It's a level of excitement the real world just cannot match. What's more thrilling, a video game full of explosions and power-ups? Or a quiet afternoon with a book? Yeah, exactly. This overstimulation rewires kids' brains to crave constant action. So when you tell them to put the iPad down and go outside, their brain's like, outside? Where are the power-ups? The explosions? The dopamine hits? Even as adults, we're not immune. That's why we feel fried after hours of screen time. Yet, we keep coming back for more. I mean, how many times have you yelled, "Get off that screen!" Or, in my house, "Get off that damn screen!" while simultaneously scrolling TikTok? Yeah, I think we're all a little addicted. I will admit, my prefrontal cortex clearly isn't doing great either, considering Netflix has to ask me, "Hey, are you still watching?" Yes, Netflix, just let me live. So remember Dr. Huberman we talked about earlier? Well, he explains that the constant stimulation of screens is rewiring our kids' brains in ways that make it way harder for them to focus, to regulate their emotions, and to even sleep. There is a lot of up-and-coming research that explains the areas our kids are affected. Some of those areas include their social skills, which means too much screen time really means that kids aren't practicing face-to-face interactions. And no, yelling at strangers on Fortnite doesn't count. Also, sleep disruption. The blue light from screens messes with melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep. And melatonin is a hormone. So if your kid's a prepubescent child or is going through puberty, giving a small dose at bedtime can mess with their biological makeup of all their hormones. Ultimately, screens are just the caffeine for your eyeballs, and it makes it impossible to fully engage in sleep. Then there's attention spans. Screen train kids' brains to expect constant stimulation, which makes real-world activities like reading or homework feel absolutely unbearable. Now, with all of this, I want to be clear. Screens aren't all bad. They're a tool. I mean, like hammer or tequila. Great in moderation. The key is setting boundaries and modeling healthy habits. Yes, I realize the hypocrisy of me saying this while I binge-watched Law & Order SVU as I wrote this. But here's the hard truth. It's not just our kids who are addicted to screens. We are too. The other day I yelled, "No screens at dinner!" And then I immediately checked my phone when it buzzed. My daughter looked at me like, "Really? Are you fucking kidding me?" And honestly, she had a point. Now, I'm not saying she's in charge now. She might think she is. But I'm definitely rethinking some things. I by no means am perfect or have all the answers, but here are some tricks I've used and I've watched others use over the years. I mean, I can't guarantee they'll work for you and your family, but it's worth giving them a try. First, we have the timer trick. You set a timer, tell your kid, when the timer goes off, screen time is over. This works great until they figure out how to reset the timer. Or in my kids' case, argue that the timer doesn't count if they're playing an educational game. Most of the time, their educational game wasn't educational. Then you have incentives, also bribery. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Sometimes you need to dangle a carrot, literally or metaphorically, to finish homework or get other things done. If you finish your homework, you get 30 minutes of Xbox time. Clean your room, another 30 minutes. Of course, the downside is that now you're running a tiny screen economy in your home. Upside, your house is cleaner than it was 2 hours earlier. Bonus. Then there's the no screen day experiment. Every parenting blog suggests having a no screen day. I tried this once. Seriously, it ended with me hiding in my bedroom while my kids screamed, "Why do you hate us?" But if you're braver than me, please give it a shot. And then there's outdoor distractions. Get them outside. Nature is the antidote to screen time. In theory, anyway. In practice, it's me yelling, "Get off the iPad and go play outside." You guys, when I was your age, my mom locked me out of the house, and I didn't come home until sundown. I do this all while they stare at me, like I just suggested they eat raw kale. But after they get some good old Montana air, they really do come back inside feeling refreshed. Here's the deal. Screens are here to stay. Tantrums are inevitable. And none of us are getting it right 100% of the time. And that's seriously okay. Parenting isn't about being perfect. It's about surviving, laughing, and occasionally locking yourself in the bathroom to cry. Do you notice a trend here? The best we can do is set our boundaries. Talk to our kids why it's important to unplug and model better habits ourselves. This might be the most important takeaway from my entire episode today. Modeling the habits ourselves is essential. We can't say, "Do what I say, not what I do." Our children are watching us. They see what we're doing. And if we don't make screens less of a priority, they won't either. Please send me your thoughts. I'd love to hear your horror stories or your favorite coping strategies. Feel free to hit me up on social media. And remember, the next time your kid screams, "You're ruining my life," just smile and think, "Kid, that's what I'm here for." I really appreciate you listening to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. I'll see you next week. Until then, good luck.